Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Power of Custom Maps webinar. We're just going to give it about 30 seconds for everybody that's attending to get in, and then we will get started. Again, thank you to everybody that's hopping on. Just give us about another 20, 30 seconds for everybody to get in, and then we will begin this webinar. All right, let's get going. We've got a great group already on, and we'll let more people will get on. But thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Brody Enright, and I'm the manager of customer success here with Threshold 360. We have our Power of Custom Maps webinar, which we're really going to focus today on how some of our customers utilize our mapping tool. So just to get started, we do have our agenda. So a couple housekeeping items. All attendees will be muted for the duration of the webinar. We will have a Q&A session that takes place at the end of the presentation. So please submit any questions you have into the Q&A module at the bottom of your screen. And then as a reminder, every registrant will receive a webinar replay, including all the materials that we presented. So we'll also have the deck that we'll share after as well. Just a quick overview of the agenda. We'll do a quick welcome, introduce our panelists. We're really excited to have join us today. And then Cody Wiseman will give his story for Visit Rapid City. And then Tiffany Eck with Visit Denver will give her story. I'll hop in and do a quick update on some of our new custom mapping features. And then we'll jump into a Q&A session at the end. So again, and if we don't get to everybody's questions at the end, we will be sure to follow up with answers and to reach out. So please be sure to put your questions in the chat. So really excited about the panelists that we have today. Cody, who's the creative marketing manager at Visit Rapid City, has been a pivotal team member for the past 5 years. He leads a dynamic range of initiatives, including graphic design, website management, and the cultivation of agency relationships. But his expertise extends to capturing Rapid City through photography and videography, further amplifying the city's appeal. So Cody has been a great partner of ours here, utilizing the platform and giving us great feedback. And then Tiffany Eck is a graduate from Marquette University. She started her career in the hospitality industry as a banquet manager for Rock Bottom Restaurants, and then relocated to St. Louis to become a travel director for Merritt's Travel Company. Tiffany joined Visit Denver as a convention services manager. She was promoted to associate director of destination services in March of 2010. And has served as a member on the EIC Sustainability Event Standards Committee. She runs Visit Denver's Green Team and is a former member of the Event Services Professional Association Board. And Tiffany is a proud wife and mom of 2 young girls. So again, really excited to have both Cody and Tiffany join us. We can't thank them enough. And with that, Cody, I will hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Brody. Yeah, so I want to head through on a great picture of Mount Rushmore here so people can understand where Rapid City is. We get a lot of questions about that. Which rapids are we in the country? So yes, we're about 30 minutes from Mount Rushmore. Great place, lots of parks and monuments, and just a fun place to be. So I'm going to start off talking a little bit about how we use our 360 tours in general, and then kind of lead into the maps. And I know Tiffany has a lot of great stuff that Visit Denver's utilizing with those maps as well. So leisure marketing is kind of one of our bigger items that we use these tours for. Tourism is the largest economic driver in our area. So really using these tours to kind of push what is available out here and giving people like a really great insight on how to see and what they can do out here has just been super helpful. Next is that accessibility information. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but these tours are just, I mean, you can't really get a better way to showcase what is accessible in an area by actually being there with a 360 tour. So that's been great. And then when we start getting into those maps, these custom maps, that's when the meetings and conventions, bid proposals and servicing, that really helps to just, I mean, elevate what it is that we're doing in that space. So to go into leisure marketing, we do the 50 tours with Threshold 360. We kind of split them up between hotels and those venues and leisure listings that we have on our site. So we make sure to put all of those on our business listings on our website. So you can see there we have a drop down for virtual tours for any of those that have that. And those have just been super great. We've seen some really, really good numbers for that. And then on the right, we have the one of Mount Rushmore. And I believe it was Q3 or Q4 last year, they dropped the hotspots. Is that right, Brody?
Yep.
Yeah, those have been super, super helpful. You can see on here, we're able to showcase the evening lighting ceremony. So really focusing on those specific events that happen at these spaces. So we're starting to add those to our tours, and that's been really, really helpful and just kind of to really boost that leisure marketing.
And one thing to add to that, Cody, appreciate you calling out the hotspots. What's great about those is those will also show up on the tours when they're on the map as well. So if you've included those and somebody's using our mapping software, they'll be able to see those information points within the tours.
Perfect. Yeah. And then so that other topic there is the accessibility information. So right away here, why are we looking at a 360 tour of a bathroom? I specifically chose this one because when it comes to ADA rules, um, technically a roll-in shower doesn't have to be really a roll-in shower. They can actually have a little lip on there, which makes it super inconvenient for those in wheelchairs to actually get into these bathrooms. So that's why I really wanted to showcase this. So this has just been such a helpful piece of our marketing for those travelers who need this information to really showcase the first-hand basis of what is it like in this area. So that's been really, really helpful, specifically with our hotels, making sure that the ADA rooms are exactly what they need. And even if they aren't, they can, call the hotels and make sure they can kind of make some of those accommodations. So that's been a really big part of our tours. And then getting into the maps with these attracting the meetings businesses. So previously what we were doing was a bit of a mess. So what we really tried to do was create videos. We would actually go and interview the sales managers of our hotels, ask them what it is that they have for that area or for their hotel, the convention space, the rooms, the amenities, and then our meetings. Tyson here, our meetings director, he would go through and do a little bit of interview as well, kind of talking about those. We spent almost a year going through all of our hotels, getting all of these videos. And by the time that year was done, the sales manager had left, they're doing renovations. It would just felt like, wow, that was a waste of time. So enter Threshold 360 just really helped to simplify this entire process, especially with using these maps. It's just been so helpful. So I'm not sure if very many of you use send sites, but that's what we use here in the office to get out those bid proposals. And that's what you can see over here for the 2024 Turner Enterprises summer meeting. We're able to just list out what hotels can host their meeting. And it's such an easy way for them to go through, see, check it out, get a nice little tour of those hotels. We're looking to add, like Brody said, more of those hotspots in there so we can have those specifics, whether it's images of the meeting space and how it looks with an event in it or how it looks empty. So we're really just able to offer such a well-rounded experience for them. We're also, one of the best things we just talked about was, updating those things as needed. So with renovations, every year we're able to go back and, get additional or redo the tour for those hotels. And that is super, super helpful. Just constantly staying up to date with all of those. And then my last point is pins, pins, pins. I worked with McKay on the Threshold 360 team to pretty much import every one of our business listings that we have on our website into the Threshold 360 platform. So for those of you that don't know, there are your tours and there are the pins. So the tours is whenever you're able to just go in and actually see the 360 tour. A pin is more just like a general listing. So we're really excited to be utilizing these going forward. What we've decided to do is for any of those really large conventions that we have, we're going to be creating a landing page and we want to show them what all can they do around their host hotel. So we're going to be using these maps specifically to have their host hotel where they can get that 360 view of it and then just showcase the restaurants, attractions, or whatever it is that is all within walking distance or driving distance. And that's where those pins really, really come in handy. So that's how we kind of utilize those maps. We're really looking to do more with those. One of the ideas that we just came up with was helping out for parking. So we do have a really large convention center here that has 4 or 5 different parking lots. So to utilize those pins as parking lots to say exactly how far it is, showcase the walking distance from that to the actual venue is just super helpful and really gives visitors and meeting planners alike just a really great experience.
Awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much. I guess one quick question I have for you is, have you guys seen, now that you're incorporating the maps into your bid proposals, have you seen more engagement and kind of just qualified leads from your meeting planners that you share these bids with?
Yeah, absolutely. We are all about data and stats out here. So when we started, adding these maps, it was really awesome to see, how many people are actually looking and interacting with these maps. Before we were sending out those bid proposals, and it was just kind of on a hope and a whim. Are they enjoying this? Another part of that and how easy this has made it is previously we had to include information about each individual hotel, type out all that information. Whereas now we're just able to do a couple clicks of a button. I asked Shelby, who is our servicing manager here, to how easy is this? She said each map takes her maybe 5 minutes, and over the course of a year, she's built over 50 maps to add into the send site proposals. So that's been super helpful. But yes, yeah, the engagement is definitely there, and what we love to see.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And again, we'll come back to you during the Q&A session. So everybody that's on, please don't hesitate to start putting your questions in. And we'll get to those after Tiffany goes. So Tiffany, I will turn it over to you now.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just a quick story about Visit Denver. So we actually became a customer of Threshold 360 in February. So really approaching that 5-year mark of 2019. And I will say our timing couldn't have been better because we were already out in market and starting to get those 360s collected. And then we all know what happened a year later. And it was a great part of our story, which I'll talk about in the virtual aspect on how we were really able to leverage these as part of our planning tools, particularly throughout the pandemic and now even and beyond. And similar to what Cody talked about with those pins, we provided Threshold 360 with, our hotels, restaurants, and major attractions, and then they uploaded those into the system. And then as the 360s started coming on board, we could swap out a photo per se with the actual 360 videos, which has been really helpful. So the primary ways in which we use it, I would say, is that as it's hotel maps or maps in general. Say that's probably our primary feature, and then we use it as part of our planning process or perhaps through for site visits that are coming up, and then it's just a major partner benefit for all of our partners. And the platform that we were using previously, when Cody was talking about going out and taking those videos, that sounds completely exhausting. So I'm glad that Threshold 360s provided an alternate solution for you. But I put up here that we were using Illustrator maps, and these maps were created by a cartographer, and they are extremely complicated. They have, first of all, they have no online feature, which in the modern technology, a lot of people love that ability. And all it is a plotted point on a map, and really doesn't give you that reference as to really how far something is or what that quality of the product is. And then it had so many layers to it that when Cody said, it can take 5 minutes to create a Threshold 360 map, he's right. Like, these are so quick, they're so easy, and they have so much customization to them, which is really a benefit for not only us, but for our clients and the end user as well. And so we've been extremely happy, and occasionally we might have to still do one of these Illustrator maps for some crazy reason, but as much as possible, both the sales and services team here at Visit Denver are really switching to using these Threshold 360 maps just for the convenience, ease, and all the flexibility that they offer. On the hotel maps, I just threw up one for a meeting that I have up and coming. So another thing I'd like to just give kudos to with Threshold 360 is that we've been working with them for quite a while, and we will challenge them, if you will, on a lot of different things and say, hey, what about this? Like, have you thought about this? And so, for example, here in the corner, you see that there's actually the client logo. That wasn't a feature in 2019, and that's something that Threshold has listened to not only Visit Denver, but I think several CVBs were saying, hey, we would like to be able to put our client logos on them, because again, we would, in order to get the client logos on a printed map, let's say, because sometimes clients still do like to have both of those options, we'd have to then take the map, download it, put it in Illustrator, add a logo, which, you know, took a little bit more time and a little complicated layering there. So now it's, you know, a click of a button, you upload your photo, and it now includes on the map. So I applaud and give kudos to the team for taking that feedback and really customizing these maps and continuing to evolve them. Another feature that I think is really beneficial of these maps is in that corner there, you see it says AA information. So if you were to actually click on that on the online map, you can have whatever information you want. So you can have a name, you can have a website, a phone number, email address. So a lot of times, you know, if we're doing a hotel map, we'll start listing the housing information so that way if they get on this map and are like, oh, I need to get a hold of the housing company, they have that access and information, you know, at their fingertips. Additional features that you can add here, which I think are just really nice about these maps, is for this convention in particular, it's at the convention center. So we add anchor points and talk about the convention center as our anchor. So when you're actually on this online map, it references everything as to how far it is from our convention center, but that doesn't have to be your anchor. Your anchor could be, you know, it could be the Broncos Stadium, it could be a hotel. And so what's really nice about these is that we not only use them for the large citywides, but I would say, honestly, we didn't do a lot of mapping stuff for our smaller conventions prior, just because it was a lot of work, but now it's really something that we can add to anyone. Somebody could be coming in for a board meeting and saying, hey, we have, you know, the Brown Palace Hotel, and we're going to be doing these 4 offsites. Can you put us a map together? And then it's, you know, click, 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 and away you go. And it's really seamless and really easy. So I think that the customization, the flexibility that is built into this is definitely worth its weight in gold. So next up, kind of along those lines with like the venues, is that we really, you know, created this page called Virtual Denver during the pandemic, but have kept it just because we also find that it's a really valuable tool. And especially now that, you know, if you're going to have a call with a client, it's probably just not a conference call anymore. It's a Zoom meeting or it's a Teams meeting, you know, Google Meet. So it's something along these lines. So you can, so I'll be talking with a client who says, hey, Tiffany, you know, we're coming in and we need to look for some venues for an offsite. And, you know, I'll switch on the sharing of my screen and perhaps come here and say, hey, let's take a look at some of these virtual venue tours, and then we can talk through it together in person versus me saying, yep, go do your research, check out these venues. And then they have to do all this like digging into it. I can kind of walk them through and they can be getting a feel and say, oh, that's not our vibe. That's not what I'm looking for. And then, you know, it just spurs this kind of continual conversation. And I would say same thing with, you know, the downtown virtual hotel tour. So I particularly happen to work a lot with citywide conventions. So let's say I've got a group that's looking for overflow. I'll often send them this link and say, okay, well, you know, you've got your contracted hotels. Here's all the downtown properties. You know, which hotels, based on proximity or the way that they look, you know, do you want to research or have me research overflow for you? So I think what we thought was just going to be a great resource during the pandemic, when you really truly were just doing virtual site tours, has really evolved to help that more engaged experience with our clients throughout this planning process, which has been really nice. You know, one thing I forgot to say on the hotel map, I just looked at my notes, is that you can have some customization with rates. So you can also like list your client rates, or you can list special notes. So there's a lot of different flexibility even within the actual maps itself that you're able to do. So I think that another thing that I don't actually have it listed here, but if you're in the services world, you get this question of dine-arounds. So, you know, where can I do some dine-around locations? So we've actually created some dine-around maps. So saying, if you know Denver, Larimer Square. So here's the restaurants on Larimer Square, and we can, you know, give them the contact information, but we can also say, here's a map. So you can say, like, are these the types of restaurants that you want to be going to? This is the vibe that that restaurant has. Or, you know, going down to Union Station and blocking those out by different neighborhoods. So there's so many different ways to use it just outside of hotels that you can get creative. Our clients, you know, coming in for those site tours, you can create them a custom map and then just delete it when they're gone. Because if they don't need it anymore, the maps are really easy to make and delete. So I think just all of those customization pieces and how every convention bureau is using it is probably a little bit different, but a lot of the base fundamentals. And then the last thing for us is really that it's a partner it's a partner benefit. So I threw up a screenshot of where they are. I personally don't love where these are on our listings, and I'm trying to get that changed. I actually really like how Cody calls out the virtual tour link and even sent that to my marketing team last night because I think that's a great feature. But we promote this all the time. So I just did a workshop with our partners last week and kind of at the very beginning, said this is a great partner benefit. If we've got restaurants, attractions, hotels in this room, and you don't have this, or you've done a renovation or you've made changes, you really need to get together with our Threshold 360 team and go out and get these photos captured. For us, I don't know if every CVB is this way, but for us, we give it as a free member benefit to any member of Visit Denver. So they would be remiss if they didn't take advantage of this because it is a free benefit being a member at Visit Denver. And then they're also allowed to, especially for those smaller businesses, smaller restaurants, we allow them to have that link and put it up on their website, which, they might not have the marketing dollars to do something like that to go out and capture their own. So it's just a great added benefit for our partners.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I have a couple quick questions for you before I jump into my side. One, you mentioned that you guys use, your team uses it for small meetings and conventions. Do you also use the maps for site visits for like major sporting events? Or I know you guys had the baseball all-star game last year. Do you guys use the maps for those as well?
We will, as needed. So kind of depends on, what the need is. But yeah, and what's nice is then if, let's say right now kind of what's loaded up is all of our partners, but let's say, they're working on a training field in the sports world, they can just add that, they can add that custom pin or whatever to add to that specific map so that our clients understand where everything is in reference to each other. Because a lot of times, those sporting events stuff is spread out a little bit further across the city. So having that real-time distance and being able to add that flexibility is really nice.
And then Cody touched on this a little bit, but also for you with Visit Denver being a large organization that has a lot of different departments and staff members. Can you touch on just a little bit on the ease of creating the maps for your team, being able to have so many team members create maps and utilize the maps in just, if you don't mind kind of adding to that as well?
Yeah. So, I've talked a lot about services and how we use it, but our sales team uses it a lot, very similar to what Cody was saying in that sales process where they will create these maps and include them in bids. And, I was just in there the other day looking and, we probably have 200 different maps created and probably need to do an audit to clean some of those out, but it's super easy. I mean, it's literally like a click, 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 and give it a title. And if that's all you need, if you don't want to add rates and you don't want to add contact information and you don't have a logo to update, but even then it's literally, it's very intuitive and easy to use. And, not everybody within Visit Denver has the administrative rights to go in and create their own maps. We try to kind of funnel that through mostly the services team and then the coordinators on the sales team, as well as a few folks within the marketing team. So we don't have access to everyone, but it's very easy. And anybody, I could create a map for the sales team if they needed one. So there's no proprietary, this is the sales web portal, or this is the tourism web portal. We all aggregate into the same portal. And that's what's also really nice. If you don't have somebody, when we were doing these Illustrator maps, if a coordinator was out and they knew how to manage these maps, you'd have to wait, until Monday. And, I've been in a room with clients on a site visit and they'll say, oh, can you reorder this, for example? So in the maps, you have the ability to say, is it by distance? Is it in alpha? Like you have all these different ways in which you can do it. And I, pulled up my laptop and said, yep, that change is made. So what's really nice is it's instantaneous. And if you have access, anybody's able to make those updates.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to jump in just real quick. And again, both Cody and Tiffany, those were fantastic updates. And we really appreciate you guys presenting today. But real quick, for those, we have both customers and non-customers on today. And I just want to call out, we have recently pushed several major updates to our custom mapping software, which I know both Cody and Tiffany are starting to take advantage of. And I've had several customers already put some questions about that. But wanted to just touch on several of those updates. One, 3D mapping. So now all of our custom maps are built on Mapbox's 3D mapping software. So this gives you the ability to both, it's enhancing the style design of our maps. So maybe if you've seen our maps previously, you will definitely notice that the overall style is much more enhanced, as well as you zoom in, as you can see here in the bottom left with that snowbird map, you can actually see a full 3D scale of all the buildings. So you can get a better sense of, if you are in a convention district like Denver, if you want to see how to get around and, the different building sizes, where to go, where to navigate, there's that capability now. We also have added, you've probably noticed that on all of the cards for the locations, it says ability to enable navigation or enable navigation. So now, and this was based on feedback from many customers, like Tiffany touched on, you have the ability to create an anchor map. Now, with this update, you can make any other location, a user can go in, click that radio that says enable navigation, and that'll change the anchor over to that location. So again, you'll still have the main anchor, but if you do have some off-site venues, that allows the user to see how to navigate from their hotel or where they are to those different venues. So it gives you more flexibility. We've also enhanced our printed capabilities. So just to kind of touch on this a little bit, because Cody and Tiffany didn't, but we do have, all of our maps can be printed. They have a QR code. And one of the things that we've added is you can now adjust the zoom and almost have a preview mode for our printed maps. So you can adjust what users are seeing, how tight it is. So if you want to zoom really into the downtown district, you can. You can also add the walking navigation rings to the printed maps. And then again, whenever you print them, there's a QR code on the bottom so that you can hand it out to attendees. They can scan it on their phone and see the digital version as well. I know there's still a lot of people that like to have that printed paper map in their hands when they're going somewhere. So, and then the last thing that we have added in this map update is you can now add a custom map logo. So anytime that you create a map, you can actually add a custom logo. Again, if you're wanting to build a map for a client microsite or a client group and you want to use their logo, you have that capability now with this update. So let's jump to Q&A. And please, again, if you haven't put in, please put in questions. We've already got a couple good ones. I'm going to touch on just a few things in here real quick that we've gotten the more Threshold 360 focused. Does the 3D viewing automatically apply? So yes, any map that you've created or any map that exists in Threshold is going to have the 3D mapping software now. So you may notice, if you are a customer, all of the maps that you've shared or implemented will have that 3D capability. So it's not for future, it's for all maps. And then let's see here. We also got a question is, are all of the 360 tours hosted on the platform? Yes. So all of the virtual tours are a part of in the Threshold dashboard and able to be used for our mapping software. So like Cody mentioned, you have the ability to, in your dashboard, have both virtual tours as well as the pens that you add to the maps. Let's see, what other questions? Please feel free to add some more. It looks like that's all the questions we have so far. Give it just a second longer. Anything else that we may have missed, Tiffany or Cody, on your guys' end that you want to just add based off of what the others shared, or if not, oh wait, we've got a couple more here. I'll actually, just jump in there. Anything else you guys want to add, or while we get a couple more questions?
Brody, this is, I'm trying to understand Megan's question, and I might need my marketing team, and maybe Cody, you could answer that. But we are on, and I think Cody, looking at your website, you are as well, so maybe you could speak to it. But we are on SimpleView as our DMO platform, and then that's our website as well. And I believe there's a pretty easy integration with Threshold 360 and how they get on the listings, but I can't speak to that. But I believe that's what Megan's question is.
Yeah, yeah. So we use SimpleView, and so on the CRM side, that's where we can just simply input the forgetting what it's called, Brody, but it's like the code for the individual tour. We can just put that right in there, automatically populates into that drop down that we have for virtual tours. But even if you're not in SimpleView, so we've been with Threshold 360 while we were currently on a Drupal site, or really any other site. If you are just using like a text editor, you can just paste the embed code directly from the Threshold 360's platform into those text editors, and it's pretty simple. So.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got a couple more questions. Tiffany, thanks for jumping in on that. Just to build off of that, like Cody said, we do have an integration with SimpleView, and both for the CMS and now we have a CRM integration as well. That's one of our newer features. So there is that ability. If you connect your SimpleView CRM with the dashboard, you can push over your listings into the dashboard and update your information that way. Or like Cody said, we can always take a full list and ingest it into our system. But it's one of the nice things with SimpleView as well is you actually can just take in the share link that we have, you can drop that into their map widget, and it's very easy to add it across their site. But also what's also nice is if you aren't with a major website developer, we have a lot of customers of all ranges throughout the country, and they're all able to take those iframe codes that we have for our maps and add them into their website. So we've got customers that use their maps on their websites no matter who they use. So again, if you work with a major website developer, a lot of times we have a great working partnership with them, such as Tempest, SimpleView, MMGY, all of them. But if you don't, Visit Bloomington is a good example. They work with a local developer, and they've incorporated their maps all over their website. And to that point, we've also had customers utilize those codes to put on third-party sites. So that's another, again, like I mentioned, client microsites, as well as if you're potentially doing like Bandwango, we've had customers utilize the maps on those sites as well. Let's see here. That's a good question. Great question here. With these features, what the demos have, how much do the partners, restaurants get to use or see the map? So just to that point, like both Tiffany and Cody mentioned, when the destinations are creating these maps, you guys are, a lot of times they're featuring the partners. So I know Cody and Tiffany, you guys use these externally at trade, do your teams use these at trade shows and other events as well, so that your partners are getting focused and featured?
Do you say, do we use them at trade shows?
Yeah. Do you guys use the maps I know you mentioned your sales team, but do you guys use these externally as well when you're out at trade shows?
I wouldn't say probably particularly at trade shows, but so everything for us is custom. So whatever a client needs, we will customize a map for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I don't think we've used them at trade shows or anything like that, but it's a great idea.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I think that's just about it. Those are all the questions we've gotten. Again, we will follow up if anybody did put a question and it didn't get answered. We'll make sure to get that in. But that's it. Thank you so much. We had everybody pretty much stay on the whole time, so this was great. And if you have any questions after, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@threshold360.com. And Cody and Tiffany, thank you both so much again. We really appreciate your time today.
Hey, Brody, I'm curious. I see a question in here that I'm curious the answer to. There's actually a couple, but so I think somebody asked in here, like if you have a location with multiple spaces, so let's say the convention center, for example, is a really large space, but let's say your sales team is putting together a bid on using 5 of the spaces at the convention center. Can you create or have the convention center turn off all the other spaces that they're not seeing and just create a custom map of the spaces that they want to see?
So that is a great question. We actually have had Visit Seattle is a great example. They're a customer of ours as well, that you in the maps themselves, currently it's going to show the entire tour, but you do have customers have access to the ability to create what we call our custom share pages. I know you guys have used in some of your bids, and basically it's a link that you can customize showing just specific tours. I know Visit Seattle, when they use their bid proposal, they'll include a map, but then they'll also just use that custom share page as well to highlight just the specific spaces. So it's a complement to the map. So again, it's kind of that beauty of the different features we have in the platform.
So it wouldn't be particularly in the map per se, but you would say, here's the convention center, and that specific location, you would pull out just what you need.
Correct. And we have had, there is the ability, something that I don't think we touched on, but to add call to actions to our maps, as you guys know. So you can add book now button to the map or to each individual location as well. We've had customers add the call to actions to the map if they're wanting to show just a specific space to like the convention center. So they'll do that as well.
Okay, there was one other question that I saw in here that I would love an answer to as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Since we have
absolutely.
10 minutes. So when you do a print mode, I know this happens a lot in Denver, there's several of our hotels that are like a dual property.
Mhm.
And they're basically the same address, and the buttons or whatever, when you in print mode, they really overlap. Is there any way to change that because they're the same address manually, or do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. And that is one of the major updates we've made with that print zooming you now have. You can adjust kind of how you zoom in so that the pins don't overlap. We'd heard that a lot from customers, so we made that update. And then also we have, again, with that flexibility of our platform, we can create multiple listings. So we've done that as well so that you can have, so if we ever need that for a customer or a prospect and you're wanting us to maybe separate it out, we can always do that as well.
Okay, great, thank you. And I think for what you're hearing here, even just by me asking questions, what is really great is they're the Threshold 360 team takes your advice seriously. So if you are a customer or a future customer, I would say challenge them and give them those questions, because their team's been really adaptive and, you know, wants to make it the best experience, not only for us, but our customers.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both again. And again, thank you everybody for that's been on today. And we will see you guys soon. Have a great day.